your NEET exam purposes. Okay, so now let's look at that is the gynosium. Gynosium we know very well. What is the gynosium? Gynosium is the female reproductive structure. Androsium male reproductive structure and gynosium is the female reproductive structure. So now look at here that we can say gynosium, that is the female reproductive structure. Gynosium is the female reproductive structure and they have this gynosium. This gynosium they have three different parts. This gynosium they have classified into the three different parts. Just look at the structure. I'm drawing the structure. If you see the swollen basal part of this gynosium, this is called the ovary. This is known as the ovary, and a stalk-like structure which connects between stigma and ovary. This is called the style, and this is the stigma. Stigma is the site where the landing of pollen grain generally takes place. Okay, so stigma is the site where landing of the pollen grain takes place. So they have this androsium, sorry, this gynosium have classified into the three different parts: stigma, style, and ovary. Stigma is the upper, this is the apical and apex part of this plant. Apex part of this, what you will say, gynosium, and it is the site where the landing of pollen grain takes place. Style is the stalk-like structure which is which is going to connect between stigma and ovary, and swollen basal part of the androsium, that is called the. So these are given. Okay. Another one important things which I have given here that we will talk about the placentation. Placentation. This is the very important topic because most of the time they have asked from here. The question basically they asked from here. Okay. So placentation means you can say placentation, that is the okay. Placentation what it have given, that is arrangement of ovule, that you can say arrangement of ovule inside ovary. The pattern of arrangement of ovule inside the ovary, it is called the placentation. Okay. The placentation means the pattern of arrangement of ovule inside the ovary. This is called the placentation. And we know very well ovary wall generally forms the fruit while ovule forms the seed. Or simply you can say ovule also known as the seed. So the arrangement of seed inside the ovary, that is the placentation. Now placentation, this type of the placentation they have classified into the 5 different types. Okay. So first one, look at here, that first one is the this is the number one. First one is the marginal placentation. Marginal placentation. Second is the axile placentation. And third is the parietal placentation. And fourth is the basal, that should be last, but here I am writing. So basal placentation, and last one is the precentral placentation. Okay. So in this way, they have classified into the 5 different types: marginal placentation, axile placentation, parietal placentation, precentral placentation, and basal placentation. That would be last. Here it would be last, but I have written here that is sequence does not matter. You have to clear your concept. What is the sequence? That is not, because they have given the actual fact. Fact is there. They have not. It is the initial steps or last steps. Not like it is a procedure. It is a classification. Okay. So marginal, axile, parietal, and precentral, basal placentation. So now we are going to talk about the first. That is the marginal placentation. Marginal placentation, the placenta form a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary and the ovules are born on this ridge forming 2 rows as in P. So example of the marginal placentation you can see. Example of the marginal placentation, that is the pea, Pisum sativum. The scientific name of this pea is the Pisum sativum. Okay. This is the example of marginal placentation. In marginal placentation, I'm drawing the structure. Just look at here. Okay. Now look. Suppose that this is the structure, and it is going to form like that. This is the ovule. The arrangement of ovule like that. Okay. This is the Pisum sativa, means half portion is there, and this structure is known as the ridge. RIDZ. This is the ridge. Okay. And ridge, along the ridge, ventral suture is there. On the ventral suture, there is the formation of seed. That means ovule arrangement takes place. So this is called the marginal type of placentation, and marginal type of placentation found in the pea. Okay. Let's look it again. Just wait. This why it is came. With the help of eraser, we can erase. Wait. This is the placentation, and I talked about which type of placentation. Uh, we talked about the marginal placentation. So now next one you can see, that is the next one, placentation. Okay, look it. Next is the second placentation and marginal finish. So second is, you can say, that is the exile. Now look at this figure. This is the exile placentation. Exile placentation found into the, that is the TLC, tomato, lemon, and China rose. Tomato, lemon, China rose. Okay, this is the exile placentation. Exile placentation where is only found? It is found into the tomato, lemon, and China rose. Okay, so look at this figure, and it is very important. Mostly they have asked. Okay, so that's why it is the too much important for your need example. Look at how what they have given. Placentation. When the placenta is axial and ovules are attached to the multilocular ovary. Now there is the multilocular ovary. You will see. So here this structure, it have the multilocular ovary, means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So they have the multilocular ovary, and the placentation said to be exile. This will be the exile placentation. Example is very important. That is the China rose. Look at the example. First one is the China rose, tomato, and lemon. So TLC, thin layer chromatography, if you have studied, so according to that you have to learn. TLC, thin layer chromatography, or tomato, and the lemon, and China rose. So these are the example of parietal placentation. Sorry, exile placentation. Next one is the parietal, which is also very important. And parietal, there is the formation of falsetto, which I was telling to you that was not correct. But now you can see this is the parietal placentation, where is the formation of false septum, which is also known as the ripplum. Okay, so now look at, they have given, in parietal placentation, the ovule developed on the inner wall of ovary on peripheral part. Okay, it is developed the inner wall ovary on the peripheral part. Ovary is one chambered, but it becomes two chambered due to the formation of the false septum. Okay, it is saying the ovary become two chambered due to the formation of false septum. If you if you look the this figure of NCERT, now here they have been, that is the C. If you look this figure C, figure number C, this is representing the which type of placentation? It is representing the parietal placentation. This is the, there is the formation of ovary. This, look at this figure, is going to formation of the ovules like structure, and there is the looking like formation of the false septum. Okay, so first one here they have given the here formation of the false septum, that should be called the ripplum. Okay, an example of this type of placentation means parietal placentation. Parietal placentation example is the mustard and arzimum. Mustard, mustard and arzimum. So these are the example. Okay. So parietal example is parietal type of placentation found into the mustard and arzimum. Okay. So in the parietal placentation, now look at this figure, and with the help of this figure, your concept should be clear. I think this concept will be clear. You have to anyhow you have to learn this image. Image will be very helpful for you. So parietal placentation, I'm going to again read. The placenta ovule develop on the inner wall of the ovary, which we have seen. On the peripheral part, ovary is one chambered, but it becomes two chambered due to the formation of false septum. And this false septum, I told, also known as the ripplum. This false septum also known as the ripplum. Okay. So example is the mustard and arzimum. These two are example of the parietal placentation. Last one is the precentral placentation, not last one, second last one. When two ovules are born on the central axis and the septa are absent, means there is no septa. There is no formation of the septa takes place, and it is found into the danthus and primrose. Example of the precentral placentation. Now we are talking about the precentral placentation. So here you can say that should be the precentral placentation. Precentral placentation. In the precentral placentation, suppose that this is the ovary. Inside they have like that. They have the this way. There is the formation of ovule takes place. Precentral means it is found into the central. This may be they have the ovules. Okay, different ovules is there. And here no formation of the septa takes place. Okay, there is no formation of septa takes place. So such type of the placentation is known as the precentral. An example is the danthus and primrose. Danthus and primrose. Danthus and primrose. So these two are example of the precentral placentation. Okay. So danthus and primrose, these two are example of the precentral placentation. And one more, that is the last, which is known as the basal placentation. And this basal placentation found into the marigold and sunflower. So look at last one. That is okay. Precentral placentation is over. Now we are going to talk last one, that is the basal placentation. In the basal placentation, the placenta develops at the base of ovary and a single ovule attached to it and a sunflower marigold. I told the example of this type of the placentation where it have given that will be the, suppose that this is the ovary. So here the ovules attached on the base. This is called the basal placentation. Concept should be learned according to image. If you have clear image inside your brain, that will be definitely you can explain. But what is the matter here? That example should learn. Okay. So here example is the sunflower, 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 and sunflower, and one more, that is the marigold. Sunflower and marigold. These two are the example. Okay, sunflower and marigold. So this is the example of basal placentation. So overall, this is the story about placentation. I told 5 different types. First one is the first one is the marginal, second parietal, third is the exile. Okay, I'm going to again recall because sequence should be learned. So first one is the marginal, second is the exile placentation, third is the parietal, and fourth one is the precentral, and last one is the basal. Marginal P and exile placentation TLC, tomato, lemon, China rose, and parietal placentation found in the arzimum and mustard, and fourth is the precentral placentation, which is very important. An example is the danthus and primrose, and last one is the basal placentation, which is the sunflower and marigold is the example. Okay, so this is the overall story about the placentation. Now we are going to talk about one more, that is the last one. You can see another topic which is known as the fruit. Okay, so wait 1 second. I will check whether it is working. Okay, that's good. Now let's look at about the fruit. And fruit is also very important part of this NCRT. Most of the time they have asked about the type of fruit or the portion of fruit which is going to eat. Means most of the people they eat the portion of fruit and the types of fruit. Sometimes they have asked the types of fruit. Okay, so now fruit I told already. Fruit is generally derived from the ovary wall. Okay, fruit is basically derived from the ovary wall, while seed is derived from the ovary. So now we are going to talk about the classification of fruit. So look at here. That is the fruit. This have classified. Just a minute. Not looking like good. So wait again. We are going to describe that is the fruit. Yes, fruit. This fruit is the three different types. This fruit have classified into the three different types. First one is the simple. Second one is the aggregate, and third is the composite or multiple fruit, composite or multiple fruit. Okay, so simple, aggregate, composite, or multiple fruit, or multiple fruit. Now, just you have to learn the difference between the simple, aggregate, and composite fruit. So first property will see the simple. In the simple fruit, they have the single flower. It is made up of the single flower. In simple fruit, the flower should be single. That carpel is carpel because fruit generally derived from the ovary wall. So here should be carpel play important role. So carpel, most of the time, the carpel should be monocarpellary. The carpel should be monocarpellary. If monocarpellary means single carpel, so single carpel means you can say there is no, united means syncarpus or polycarpus like condition because only one is there. So no fused, always free. So no syncarpus condition will come. Sometimes what happens? Sometimes there is also one condition came, maybe bicarpellary. Sometimes it may be bicarpellary or polycarpellary, or it may be polycarpellary. Polycarpellary. If it will be the polycarpellary, the condition should be the syncarpus. Very, very important. Syncarpus. Most of them means all of them. So here, simple flower, there is the very interesting story about the simple types of fruit, not flower. Simple types of fruit where the single flower and carpel is always one. Sometimes maybe bicarpellary or polycarpellary condition will come. So it should be syncarpus in condition. It should be syncarpus means the carpel is fused or united. That is syncarpus. This is the basic criteria for simple types of fruit. Okay, and another criteria for the aggregate. Aggregate it should be similar to. It should be similar to the simple type. It should be similar to the simple type. So now we are going to talk about the aggregate. Okay. So look at about the aggregate. Aggregate first is it is also derived from the single flower. It is also derived from the single flower. Okay. Second point here, most of the time polycarpellary condition will come. Monocarpellary very less. Monocarpellary is very less. Polycarpellary, and if this is the polycarpellary, very very important point, that is the apocarpus. Apocarpus, very important point. Apocarpus means carpels will be free. Apocarpus means carpels will be free. So these three are characteristic feature of the aggregate type of fruit. Aggregate also use the iterio of Akin means iterio, that is the aggregator group. You can say aggregate or group. Okay. So now look at single flower, polycarpellary, and apocarpus condition. Okay. Iterio of Achene, Iterio of Drupe. Iterio you can use, it is similar to the simple flower. And one more that is very important, and we are going to talk last, that is the composite flower. This composite flower, it is only derived from the inflorescence. Very, very important. Composite flower, these are derived from the whole inflorescence. Okay, the whole inflorescence is derived from this. Is the composite flowers only derived from the whole inflorescence. Whole inflorescence we have already studied last time. Okay, in last class I have studied detail inflorescence. So the composite or multiple flower, it is derived from the whole inflorescence, while simple or aggregate, okay, simple or aggregate, both are derived from the single flower. Okay, now this is the basic concept for the fruit. Okay, so let's look it again. That simple fruit, they have classified into the 2 to 3 different types. Okay, the simple fruit, they have classified into the, basically on the behalf of their pericarp. Pericarp, that you can say, pericarp is nothing but it is the outer wall, which is if it will be the succulent, means on the behalf of this pericarp. Pericarp means fruit wall, because fruit wall develops into the uh, pericarp. Pericarp. Okay. On the behalf of pericarp, it may be dry or fleshy. It may be dry or fleshy. Clear? They have classified. Okay. So simple fruit, they have classified again into the 2 different types. If the that pericarp will be thin, dry, and papery. Thin, dry, papery, and it will be the thick, succulent. Pericarp will be the thick and succulent. On the behalf of, they have classified 2 different types. One is called the here dry fruit, simple dry fruit, and here simple fleshy fruit. Simple dry fruit and simple fleshy fruit. Dry fruit again are classified into the 2 different types on the behalf of their dehiscence mechanism. Dehiscence mechanism. Okay, and dehiscent. Indehiscent, dehiscent. Indehiscent means those fruits which is not going to naturally release their seed. That is called indehiscent. Means those fruits which is not naturally release their seed. That is called indehiscent. They may be released by the some bacterial activity or some other means it will eat by the different animals. It will go inside the body after digest, or through the tongue it will come outside. That time they can release, or through the different forces, but naturally it will not release. That is called the indehiscent type of food. Okay, example is the echin nut, samara, echin nut, samara, and walnut, and these are the example of the indehiscent type. Okay, in case of the dehiscent fruit, it will be naturally dehisced. Will be naturally dehisced. Example is the legume and siliqua. Legume and siliqua. So these are the 2 examples of the dehiscent. Dehiscent means this type of the fruit, it will naturally dehisce. Okay, siliqua, that is mustard, and the legume, that is pea. So it will be naturally released there the seed. This is called the ending. So the simple fruit have classified into the 2 different types, and dry fruit again classified into the 2 different types on the behalf of their property dehiscent and indehiscent. Indehiscent, I told example echin and echin. Then here you can say walnut means nut, samara. Okay, so different example is there. Another dehiscent types legume and siliqua, by which they are going to release their seed naturally. This is the dehiscent type. Okay, this is the story about types of the simple fruit. Okay, let's look at next. That will be the example. Here you can say thick, where the pericarp becomes thick and succulent. That means fresh, fleshy. Okay, so it will be thick and succulent. And the example is the fleshy. This is called the fleshy fruit. This is called the fleshy fruit. Whatever they have given in your NCRT, it is the fleshy. It is the type of fleshy fruit. Okay, fleshy means the pericarp is again divided into the 3 different parts: epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp. This pericarp have divided into three parts: epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp. So on the behalf of this fruit, they have given the name that is fleshy fruit, and they have classified into the simple fleshy fruit. Okay. Simple fleshy fruit example is the pome, pepo, drupe. Pome, pepo, and drupe. Drupe they have given in your NCERT, which we will discuss later. Okay. So this is the story about simple fleshy fruit. And there is the aggregate. Now we are going to talk about the aggregate type of fruit, where the iterio of achene, iterio of drupe, iterio of pome is like that. You can say that should be the iterio, means aggregate. And one more important condition: the condition should be apocarpus, polycarpillary apocarpus. In case of the simple fruit, not polycarpillary, rarer polycarpillary. If the rare polycarpillary means the carpel should be united, syncarpus condition is there. Syncarpus found into the simple and simple type of fruit, aggregate type of fruit, that they have to, you can say it have the apocarpus. It have the apocarpus condition. Okay, so this is the story about simple and aggregate fruit. Last one is the fruit which is derived from the inflorescence, that is the aggregate or composite fruit. In the aggregate or composite fruit, you can see this will be the derived from whole inflorescence. Okay, and they have the cyconus and sorosis. There is the two which have divided into the two different types, cyconus and sorosis. Clear? So cyconus and sorosis. One they have given the catkin, that is the mulberry. So this is the example of composite type of the fruit. Okay, jackfruit and this mulberry catkin, the mulberry, that is the catkin. So this is the composite fruit or multiple fruit. Clear? Which is derived from the whole. Now this fruit which I have given in your NCERT, this is the took from simple fleshy fruit. I told drupe. Okay, so now we are going to talk this. The fruit is and the study of fruit is known as the pomology. The study of fruit is known as the pomology. Okay, and the fruit again have classified on the behalf of their fertilization: apocarpic, not apocarpic, you can say parthenocarpic. Another type of classification we are going to talk: parthenocarpic, apomictic, fruit, and climacteric fruit, false fruit, true fruit, like that. They have parthenocarpic fruit means the fruit which is formed without seed. The fruit which is formed without seed, this is called the parthenocarpic. Without seed means this type of the fruit they forms without fertilization, means no formation of this. Okay, the fruit which is forms without seed, that is called the parthenocarpic. Another is the apomictic. Listen what I'm saying. Parthenocarpic means so formation of fruit, formation of fruit without seed, formation of fruit without seed. This is called the parthenocarpic. Okay, the formation of fruit without seed, it is called the parthenocarpic. Apomictic means formation of seed, formation of seed without fertilization, formation of seed without fertilization. This is called the apomictic. And last one is the climacteric fruit. Climacteric fruit means those fruits which you have plucked from the plant. Okay, plucked from the plant. And if you put anywhere, the respiration during the ripening time, the respiration rate of this type of the fruit is very high. So this is called the climacteric fruit. Means such type of the fruit respiration rate is very high. Respiration rate is very high. So such type of the fruit is called the climacteric fruit. Climacteric fruit means when you plucked this fruit from the plant, if you put anywhere, it will start to ripen. when it will start to ripen phenomenon. So that time what will happen? The temperature means respiration rate is very high. So such type of the fruit is known as the climacteric fruit. Another one is the false fruit. False fruit means which is derived from the whole inflorescence or other than ovary. Because I told fruit generally derived from the ovary wall. So if the fruit which is derived from other than ovary wall, that is called the false fruit. Example is the apple. Okay. So apple is the example of false fruit because apple we generally eat the thalamus. Okay. Thalamus is derived from the thalamus or receptacle. Okay. And the true fruit means the fruit which is derived from the ovary wall. So this is the another type of the classification of fruit. So this is the overall classification of fruit. Now we are going to talk whatever have given in your NCERT. This we will discuss. Now the fruit is the characteristic feature of the all flowering plants. It is a mature or ripened ovary developed after the fertilization. Mature or ripened. And it is for without fertilization in the ovary, it is called the parthenocarp. Without fertilization means there is no formation of the seed. That simply you can say formation of fruit without seed, that is the parthenocarpic fruit. Okay. And another is the apomictic fruit. There is also formation of the seed takes place without fertilization. Okay. In case of the parthenocarpic, formation of the fruit without seed, no seed is there, but fertilization accompanied. Okay. But in case of the apomictic fruit, here the formation of seed takes place but without fertilization. So this is the big difference between apomictic as well as parthenocarpic fruit. Now look it again. This is I told already. It is a type of fleshy that what we are going to study. That will be the simple fleshy simple fleshy fruit. We are going to talk about the simple fleshy fruit now. Uh, just look at. Generally, the fruit consists of wall that is called pericarp and seed. Seed ovule that is the wall pericarp. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. When the pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into the outer epicarp, mesocarp, and inner endocarp, which we have discussed. Same things they have. Okay, which I told to you. Some fruit, where is the dry fruit, they have not like this structure. Another very important things that you can see this fruit. Just look it. They have given here about this. It is saying in mango. Now look it. In mango, and coconut, the fruit is known as the drupe. I told it is a type of fruit. That fleshy fruit, they have the pome, pepo, drupe. Okay. So here they have given the drupe. Berry is also there. So drupe type of the fruit. So mango and coconut both are the drupe type. They develop from the monocarpellary. Very, very important. I told most of the time it will be monocarpellary. And ovary always hypogynous, superior ovary, and one seeded. Monocarpellary means single seed is there. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into outer epicarp, thin, and middle fleshy edible. The edible part of mango, that is the mesocarp. The edible part of mango, which is known as the mesocarp, and the inner stony hard is the endocarp. That is the seed. Seed is the inner stony hard, which is known as the endocarp. Okay, let's look at. And in case of the coconut, you can see this is the coconut. So here coconut, which is also true, the mesocarp is fibrous. Here mesocarp is going to form the quire-like structure. Okay, mesocarp is going to form the quire-like structure. So mesocarp, in case of the mango, it is the edible, but in case of the coconut, that is not edible. Okay, in case of the coconut, we generally eat the endocarp. Okay, endocarp means inside that is the internal structure. Okay, mesocarp is going to form the quire-like structure. Okay, so this is the story about fruit. We have to discuss about the placentation and fruit. In the next video lecture, I will talk about the seed. Okay, means the structure of monocot seed as well as dicot seed, and classification of seed, how they have classified. So I think this is very helpful for you, and this is I went slowly, but your concept should be clear. Okay, so thank you.